I think the next steps with respect to the carbon tax discussion paper is that the paper was published for comments and we received 79 sets of comments. We subsequently held a carbon tax workshop where we presented the paper. And we've now looked at those comments and summarized those comments into broad categories. The next stage is to unpack those comments and see how it can influence the design of the tax. I think the gist of the comments has been that, yes, we do recognize that climate change is a global environmental problem. South Africa does need to take action, but it needs to be a coordinated government response to climate change, with a carbon tax forming a part of a suite of measures. We expect over the next few months, I think we are a bit delayed on that April to July timeframe, to work on looking at the design options, understanding the sectors better, looking at the uses of coal, crude oil in the different processes, looking at what would be appropriate emissions factors associated with the different processes, as well as unpacking what would be the design options for addressing the distributional and competitiveness concerns. Yes, there will be competitiveness impacts, but there will also be benefits. Benefits in the sense that we could have a first mover advantage through investments in low carbon type technologies, and to the extent that we are able to do further research, development, and innovate. The imposition of a tax requires that that money is spent in a certain way. And one of the common misconceptions is that an environmental tax that is imposed, that revenues should be used to finance specific environmental activities associated with the implementation of the tax. The Treasury policy differs from this, and the reason is that we have a whole range of priorities for South Africa, providing education, reducing poverty, etc. And to the extent that we earmark revenues from a specific tax, we introduce rigidities within the budgetary process. And I think that is the public finance textbook theory of earmarking. What we've said in the discussion paper is that we do not support that strict direct earmarking of environmental taxes. However, we would consider a softer form of earmarking. And the option that we present in the paper is that we could look at directing funds basically through the different line departments for specific environmental programs. And this will require that the different departments, so for example energy and the Department of Environmental Affairs, will have to come up with reasonable business plans for specific programs related to mitigating greenhouse gas emissions. And Treasury would consider those project proposals on merit, and some of that money could then be diverted for these programs. Again, just to flag that the full earmarking of revenues is not in line with Treasury policy. However, we do recognize that funding can be channeled for specific on-budget programs that can contribute to reducing emissions.